Listen to the Wealth Talks podcast and increase your financial wisdom. You will find episodes about investments, the infinite banking concept, how to fight inflation, the financial side of retirement, and financial questions Jesse asked his girlfriend. Listen to the Wealth Talks podcast on any podcast platform or watch it on YouTube. There are new episodes of the Wealth Talks podcast weekly. Search for Wealth Talks podcast online and subscribe for free.
My friends, do you smoke, vape, or chew tobacco? If so, Knick Knack Naturals is here to help you crush your vice. Knick Knacks are nicotine mints that completely dissolve in your mouth. No smoke, no spit, no mess. This product is only for folks currently using nicotine products who are looking for a better alternative. Visit knickknack.com and use promo code Todd to save 15%. That's NICNAC, knickknack.com, promo code Todd.
Attention, you're listening to the Todd Huff Radio Show, America's home for conservative, not bitter talk radio. Be advised that the content of this program has been documented to prevent and even cure liberalism, and listening may cause you to lean to the right. Here's your conservative, but not bitter host, Todd Huff.
Well, that is right, my friends. You have tuned in to America's home for conservative, not bitter talk. Such a refreshing place to be. But I must warn you, my vast team of attorneys has advised me to let you know. I have to let you know, legally required to let you know that listening to this program may cause you to physically lean to the right. I mean, this is a real phenomenon that happens when listening to this program. So be advised, listening causes you to lean to the right. 98% of scientists agree with that. That's even more, a higher percentage. A higher percentage of scientists realize that listening causes you to lean to the right than scientists believe that man is contributing to and causing climate change and global warming. So you've been notified, my friends. Exercise extreme caution out there today, especially if you are operating heavy machinery or driving a vehicle. So I want to talk here today about something that has developed in the news. That there's a lot of stuff, of course, going on in the news, but I want to start with this question of whether or not President Joseph Robinette Bribery is going to debate Trump. In fact, the media has gotten together in a rare show of solidarity, and they've reached out to the Biden campaign, and they're putting pressure on them, getting them to commit, trying to get them to commit to actually having a debate, and I want to get to that today because it leads to the campaign, and there's some things happening in the campaign that I want to discuss and explain and kind of go through. And of course, there's plenty of other things going on out there. Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas is now admitting the border is in crisis. Congratulations to him for recognizing and having the courage to admit that. There's a transgender study out there that basically says that gender dysphoria is not the main problem that these individuals are facing. There's actually underlying other mental health conditions. There's things about reparations, questions about abolishing the IRA, and of course, the FBI. The FBI and the House Republicans have, not all of them, but 19 of them have joined together to block the FISA renewal. So lots of things happening here. Busy day as usual. But my friends, I want to tell you first, remind you about My Pillow's $25 extravaganza. You know Mike Lindell. You like Mike Lindell. You like My Pillow, what they stand for. You know that they've been part of this cancel culture. They've had the support of their box stores taken away. They've had shopping channels taken away as well. And so they're launching this $25 extravaganza. And they have a lot of products that fall within this $25 extravaganza. 2-pack multi-use MyPillows, MyPillow sandals for $25, 6-pack towel sets, $25, brand new 4-pack of dish towels, also $25, and of course the premium MyPillows with all new Giza fabric, any size, my friend, including king size for the first time. I think that's the first time ever. Yeah, the first time ever the king size pillow has been for $25, any size, any loft level. So that's part of the $25 extravaganza. It's not going to last long. You can go to mypillow.com/Todd. Use my name, Todd, during checkout, and you will get free shipping on that order in addition to the $25 extravaganza. Or you can call 800-544-8939. Again, promo code Todd gets you free shipping on your order, my friend, mypillow.com/Todd. So let's start here today by talking about this question of whether or not Trump and Biden will debate prior to this election. Now, normally in recent years, there's kind of been this, I guess, new, what do I want to say, tradition, I guess, of there being 3 presidential debates, and I think there's 1 vice presidential debate. Boy, that could be interesting as well. Trump has not yet named his vice presidential candidate, though, or running mate, but you can see, or I guess, just kind of imagine some of the people whose name, you've seen some of the names and faces and so forth of potential candidates. Just imagine the vice presidential debate, if we have one of those as well. Kamala Harris. Did you hear Kamala, by the way? I don't have this soundbite, but I've heard it a few times. I just didn't ever pull it into the stack of stuff. She was talking about the women's Final Four, actually the women's NCAA tournament, which, by the way, the women's tournament championship game drew more viewers than did the men's. This is for the first time in history, and it was a substantial margin. A lot more people watched the NCAA women's championship game than they did the men's championship game. And I got to tell you, I think, Caitlin Clark, who it appears is going to be playing on the Indiana Fever, the local WNBA franchise, which will draw people to that sport. In fact, I saw, and I don't want to make this about sports. We don't do sports talk here, although sometimes it's interesting, and I do enjoy sports. I did see in last season in 2023, the Indiana Fever, which again is the WNBA team here in the city, had 1 nationally televised game. I believe there are 40 games in all, 40 games in a season, I think. I could be wrong on that. But the WNBA and the networks, or whoever airs these games nationally, have gotten together and they've decided to give the Fever, you ready for this? 36 national, that's what I read, 36 nationally televised games. 36 of them out of 40 because of Caitlin Clark. And that's something, well, I actually think that there's some commonality between what's happening with women's basketball and what's happening with the campaign and the election, because it is about who Caitlin Clark is. And when Iowa played LSU, it was about Caitlin Clark versus, I'm drawing a blank, Angel Reese at LSU. It was about that rivalry. It was about that tension. It was about that competitiveness. And honestly, a lot of that has been taken away from the modern men's game. We liked it. I grew up in the 80s, and I enjoyed. You had the Magic and Bird rivalries. You had Michael Jordan versus the Bad Boys, Detroit Pistons. That's Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer, Vinnie Microwave Johnson, Joe Dumars. You had those rivalries. You had the rivalries, the Lakers and Celtics. And these guys, they would get competitive, and they would get chippy. And we've lost a lot of that today. That attracts people to the sport. People like Caitlin Clark going out there, shooting 30-footers. People like the back and forth. I'm not calling for poor sportsmanship, but there's nothing wrong about a heated rivalry. And that's what we have in the political situation right now, right? We've got Trump, who people either love or they hate. There's no middle ground. Reminds me a bit of when I was growing up, Indiana University basketball coach Bobby Knight. You either loved him or hated him. Again, there's just no middle ground with some of these personalities. But there's this draw. There is this draw when you have these heated interpersonal conflicts and rivalries, and just people rising to the occasion, making people better, bringing out the best in both competitive sides, and making for a heated, interesting, entertaining, in this case, basketball game. But it also is the case about this presidential election. Now, unfortunately, we have one political superstar, and we have another person who needs to call on journalists from a sheet of paper. We have another person who's given questions prior to being asked those questions by journalists, questions that are undoubtedly, I have no doubt, these questions are approved by the administration. They give them to Biden in advance. They probably go through them. They probably rehearse. They probably have 50 takes of this. And they cross their fingers when Biden goes out there that he doesn't sniff anybody's hair or walk in the wrong direction. Did you see the video, by the way, of Biden being led around? There was some ceremony at the White House with the Japanese prime minister. And, I mean, he's literally being guided around by someone in the military, an officer who was walking between them. And this officer was literally having to point his arm out to tell Biden, hey, you need to go this way now. And it's pretty embarrassing. But so there is this, we do have a superstar politician. Again, you may hate him, you may not, whatever, like his politics or his tweets or whatever he does on Truth Social, but he's a superstar. The other one is not. And that's why ultimately he's not wanting to debate. And now the TV networks are pressuring Biden to commit to debating Trump. I think they're beginning to realize that, hey, this is a critical election. A lot of people are going to be flocking to this. You put Trump on TV, it's akin. I mean, it's even more powerful, but it's similar to what happened when the NCAA had Caitlin Clark out there on their television network or whatever. That was good for the NCAA. That was good for women's basketball. That was good for sports. I watched that championship game. I watched the Final Four game. I mean, it's intense. And South Carolina, of course, was an undefeated team. Tons of talent. A lot of athleticism, a lot of size. Just probably the best girls basketball, talent-wise, that has ever been. So there's benefits from that. And, of course, there's benefits from having a very intense political campaign season as well. And so these TV networks, and it's a wide variety of TV networks, they've gotten together. It's ABC, CBS, CNN, NBC, and Fox News. So I say a wide variety. There's 4 leftist outlets, and then Fox News, which is considered by some to be some right-wing propaganda network, but at best, Fox News is moderate. I mean, slightly Republican, but in the middle of that spectrum. It just seems to be far right because you're dealing with media outlets that are rabidly leftist. So, but they've all gotten together and they wrote a letter to the Biden campaign. And the Biden campaign received this letter, and it says this: if there's one thing, in part, and I'm looking here at a redstate.com article, if there is one thing Americans can agree on during this polarized time, it is that the stakes of this election are exceptionally high. There is simply no substitute for the candidates debating with each other and before the American people their visions for the future of the nation. So the article then The article then at redstate.com, which this will be in the show notes, the stack of stuff for today. The article says this, but as you might expect, Democrats are a bit gun-shy about putting Joe Biden on stage with Donald Trump for roughly 90 minutes. Well, absolutely, that's living in reality. That is the truth. That is the real situation. That is the real fear. I mean, the guy falls when giving speeches. He can't walk up steps leading to Air Force One. He's now coming out of the aircraft on the shorter stairs. He falls over with a bicycle while he's standing with both feet on the ground. He has clear delineation of thought where it literally stops. He loses complete track, not just a little bit, not just on occasion, not just when he's distracted. The common theme is this individual, this president, Joseph Biden, loses 100% track of where his train of thought is going virtually every time he speaks now. This is a common occurrence and reoccurrence. It's now defining who he is as a president, as a communicator, as an individual. They got to give this guy a list of questions, as I referenced when he's talking to journalists. He's got a list of who to call on. They've got to make sure that they censor the questions. They've got to make sure that they scrub them and prepare Biden to do his best to answer them. They don't want him out there. They don't want him out there at all. I can't blame them. I mean, strategically, it's the right move, but how are they going to frame this? I'll tell you how they're going to frame this, which this article talks about. But before I do that, my friends, let me tell you a little bit about our friends at Solti. Solti is an all-natural, clinically proven way to lower cholesterol, and it is ideal for overall heart health. Did you know that heart disease has taken the lives of 700,000 Americans in each of the last 2 years? Now, we know science has demonstrated that heart disease takes years and sometimes even decades before it weakens our hearts. The mission at Solti is to help people maintain that heart health, to lower their cholesterol, and to help people live a full and active life. If you want a complete heart health booster, try Solti today. That's SOLTEA, Solti.com. Use my name, Todd. You'll save $29.95 on your first order. Solti.com, promo code Todd. So you would think, how can they possibly frame this? How can they possibly frame Biden's unwillingness to debate Trump? I mean, this seems rather straightforward and obvious. You're running for president of the United States. You have a contentious election. You have two diametrically opposing worldviews. You've got an open border. You've got inflation that's out of control. It is back up again. I referenced this at the end of the program, I believe, yesterday. But inflation is up. Annual inflation rate is up to 3.5% for dates ending, the annual time frame ending at the end of March of this year. 3.5%. That's, of course, higher than the experts expected. Yet again. So you've got all these things. You've got wars and rumors of wars, Ukraine, Russia, China, Taiwan, Hamas, Israel. Get the Biden administration out there putting immense pressure now on Israel to not do any other military campaigns inside of Gaza, whether or not, according to reports, whether or not the hostages are released or not. So you got all these things, and you've got a clear distinction between what life was like in America, what America was like in America under Trump, and what life was like in America, what America was like in America under Biden. And that is right there on display for everybody to see. And so it would stand to reason that both men would have to answer questions about their vision, about their priorities, about what makes sense, defend their ideas, defend their policies and all that sort of stuff. And given all the discussion about cognitive and mental health, which, by the way, the left has made these claims about Trump as well. Why aren't they saying the same? Why aren't they out there rubbing their hands together gleefully thinking, finally, we're going to get this guy out in the public eye for 90 minutes. People are going to see his mental capacities fail him, see what really is going on inside of Trump's mind, inside of the Trump camp. They aren't doing that because they know that that's all a ruse, that is make-believe, that is political theater. They do not believe one single word of that. They are terrified of putting their candidate, Joseph Robinette Bribery, in front of the big screens. That is a very, very dangerous thing to do. So that's what they want, right? They want to keep their candidate in the basement just like they did in 2020, right? I mean, it's amazing, really. And my hat's off to them. I mean, I say this kind of tongue-in-cheek because they're duplicitous, they're deceitful, and they're outright liars. But they know how to strategically position things, and they're not idiots. They're not idiots. They don't have anything to work with. They don't have any positive thing to point to that this administration has done. They don't have a candidate that people are excited to vote for. They don't have a candidate that can articulate much of anything. They don't have policies that work. I mean, none of this stuff. So what do they have? They have fear. They have the idea that says, let's campaign without really campaigning, and let's use all the tools at our disposal, which include, of course, the 7 pillars of propaganda, which includes the arm of the government, the bureaucratic state, which includes the media, which includes entertainment, which includes big tech, social media, all these factors to try to help the Biden administration, and they know, or the Biden campaign, and they know putting him out there is bad news. And so that's the choice that they've made. So now they have to come up with a reason, a rationale, an explanation as for why they can't put their candidate in front of the cameras for 90 minutes. So we'll get to that here in a moment as we get to the end of this segment. And I got a few more words about that before we take the break. But before we take that break, my friends, if you are looking for the ultimate natural health supplement, you should check out Z-Stack. Z-Stack is a trusted brand. It's formulated by Dr. Zelenko. It has clinically proven ingredients. It's proudly manufactured in the good old US of A. It's the true choice. It's the choice of true patriots who want to fight against the corrupt medical system. You can find out more. You can see the products that they offer. They offer a variety of Z-Stack products. You can go to the website, zstacklife.com/Todd. Use code Todd at checkout. You'll save 15% off your purchase. zstacklife/Todd. Promo code Todd at checkout, 15% off. Z-Stack, empowering you to stay prepared, stay safe, and to stay strong. So, going to take a break here in a moment. But what we're going to talk about in the next segment is how the Democrats, the 7 pillars of propaganda, the media, social media, all this, politicians and so forth, how they are defending, or trying to set up a scenario, a narrative that would then justify the decision that the left has already made, the Democrat Party has already made, to keep Biden off the debate stage. We'll do that in due course, my friends. Sit tight, back here in just a minute.
Listen to the Wealth Talks podcast and increase your financial wisdom. You will find episodes about investments, the infinite banking concept, how to fight inflation, the financial side of retirement, and financial questions Jesse asked his girlfriend. Listen to the Wealth Talks podcast on any podcast platform or watch it on YouTube. There are new episodes of the Wealth Talks podcast weekly. Search for Wealth Talks podcast online and subscribe for free.
My friends, do you smoke, vape, or chew tobacco? If so, Knick Knack Naturals is here to help you crush your vice. Knick Knacks are nicotine mints that completely dissolve in your mouth. No smoke, no spit, no mess. This product is only for folks currently using nicotine products who are looking for a better alternative. Visit knickknack.com and use promo code Todd to save 15%. That's NICNAC, knickknack.com, promo code Todd.
This holiday season, give the gift of flavor with Wild Oasis Bison. Treat your loved ones to the finest grass-fed, grass-finished bison cuts, showcasing the purity of the wild. Our ethical practices mean no hormones, antibiotics, or steroids, just good, clean meat. Visit wildoasisbison.com and use code TODD for an exclusive 15% off your first order. Our bison jerky is a perfect stocking stuffer for Christmas. Wild Oasis Bison, because exceptional meals start with exceptional meat.
Welcome back, my friends. So, we've been talking here about this, foreseeable problem that the Democrats have, which is keeping their candidate, putting their candidate out in front of the American people on the debate stage, on the campaign trail. Not a good look for Democrats to have Biden out there. They know this. The whole world knows it. And so they don't want to put him out there. They want to keep him hidden. They want to keep him in the basement. They want to do anything but put him out there for the world to see, for obvious reasons. They know that they are, one moment away from Biden saying or doing something on live television that would totally and absolutely disqualify him from being president. For the rest of us, we've already had that moment. We've seen that a long time ago. And we've got his record now to add to that, his abysmal record, as reasons why he's not qualified. But there are still people who pretend like this is all normal and good and that Trump's the real risk here. But there is a point, the crazier Biden sounds, or if he does something that's really, really, obvious, if he does something that obviously shows that he is in major mental decline, and I don't take pleasure in saying this, my position on this, but they're the ones that are acting like this is not a thing. And so I think I've got an obligation and a duty and a responsibility to point out that, yes, this is a thing, or it certainly looks like it. It looks like it to the point that we deserve answers. It looks like it to the point that we deserve to see him on the debate stage, and the American people deserve to see him on the debate stage, on the campaign trail, not calling on journalists from a pre-approved list that the administration has put together with questions that are almost certainly pre-approved by the administration, so that they know that Biden is prepared to answer them. And so there's an old saying that I like to quote here on this program from time to time. I don't know who said it initially. I did not come up with this. It's a beautiful thing, though. It's actually, there's so much truth in this. And it goes like this: the mind will justify what the heart desires. The mind will justify what the heart desires. So many things, my friends, so many things that we deal with this side of heaven can be summed up by that statement. The mind will justify what the heart desires. I mean, it's so true. It's how movements that are evil have been started. It's how people justify their greed. It's how people justify adultery. It's how people justify any number of behaviors. They want something, and so the mind goes kind of into autopilot. The heart wants something bad enough. It puts the mind on a mission to figure out how to get that done. And the mind will do what it's basically told to do. It's a supercomputer up there. We're telling it what to do. And so if we tell it we want something bad enough, in this case, the left doesn't want Biden on the debate stage, so they want a campaign free of debates, free of campaigning if they could get away with that. And so their mind begins to work up solutions, scenarios, narratives to explain, try to justify their desire to not have their candidate out there in front of the American people. It's as pure and as simple as that. And I'm looking here again at this redstate.com article written here by Becky Noble at redstate.com. So she goes on to quote something that Dick Durbin had said back in January of this year, Senate Democrat whip Dick Durbin from Illinois, the People's Republic of Illinois, when asked about or when talking about whether or not Joe Biden should debate Trump on the stage for 90 minutes, he said this, quote, "I would think twice about it. I've been physically present at one of the debates with Hillary Clinton, one of Trump's debates with Hillary Clinton, and I watched him do outrageous things and say outrageous things. It's just an opportunity for him to display his extremism." Now, the point he's trying to make here is, man, you can't go out there with this guy. This guy is so dangerous. He's so outrageous. The American people don't have the capacity to deal with that. You know, there's so much hate. There's so much white supremacist. There's so much sexism. There's so much fill in the blank, just oozing out of the American people every turn. And this guy just speaks to our more evil desires, the more evil people amongst us, which of course are the MAGA Republicans, right? This is the narrative. And so, you know, he's saying, look, I've seen this guy. He's outrageous. He's so outrageous. I mean, he should be censored is basically what he's saying. We shouldn't even be able to hear these things. They're so outrageous. You know, Biden can't even, it's outrageous. The idea that Biden is going to have to respond to these things that are outrageous, that's the word Dick Durbin likes to use here, but it's so outrageous, we can't even justify the entire event. You know, there's a philosophy when dealing with people who are quote-unquote outrageous. There's a philosophy that says, just shut up and get out of their way. Let them damage themselves. Let them go on a rant that is going to be so obvious to the American people that it will hurt their chances of re-election. So if Trump was as outrageous as they thought he was, as they claim he is, then they would want this in the spotlight. I mean, that's what simple logic would cause you to believe. If you are a person like me who believes in the exchange of free ideas and a robust exchange of those ideas, right? We have people who are out there who can say and, you know, promote their ideas, explain their ideas and so forth, and then we can respond with our own ideas. We can criticize the things that we've heard. That's what we need. We don't need somebody, some bureaucrat, somebody in the media, somebody in the 7 pillars of propaganda, some nameless, faceless Gen Zer or millennial working at Facebook or some social media company to arbitrarily silence. It's not really arbitrarily, it's intentionally silencing a particular political movement or the political opposition. And that's what they want. They don't want you hearing it. They want the American people to think this is so dangerous, so egregious, so, as Dick Durbin likes to say, outrageous, so outrageous that we can't even allow those words to be spoken. We can't allow them to be spoken. We can't have our candidate up there on the debate stage with them. That would give some level of credibility to what's being said. It's not serious. It just gives him an opportunity to display his extremism. Well, if that's really what you think, Dick Durbin, then wouldn't you want your candidate up there to rebut it? I mean, Trump, if he doesn't have the debates, Trump's still going to fill stadiums full of people, and there's not going to be anybody up there. There's not going to be anybody up there to question or challenge anything that he's saying. And so he's going to be at one of his rallies or at dozens of his rallies, maybe 100, who knows, lots of his rallies, up there saying what he's going to say on the debate stage with no one to challenge him. Shouldn't you want someone to challenge him if these are extremist ideas? Wouldn't it be better if he's going to be out there pontificating and sharing extremism amongst the American people that someone could at least challenge his ideas, question his ideas, and so forth? Of course, that would be the logical thing. And in reality, they all know this. They just don't want him out there. They don't want their candidate out there. They know it's not advantageous. Some other things that some of these other politicians and members of the 7 pillars of propaganda are out there saying to try to keep and prevent this debate, any of these debates from happening. But we'll talk about that here in due course. But let me tell you a bit about Knick Knack Naturals. Knick Knack Naturals is an American small business. They prioritize customer health because they want to help provide a better alternative to nicotine. They want to provide an option that will help you crush your vice. They want to provide an option that doesn't have people dealing with smoke, with spitting, with chewing tobacco, with slimy pouches, bad breath, any of that. They want to help find and provide a naturally better alternative to help people crush their vice. So they've created a mint that fully dissolves in your mouth. Again, you don't have to deal with the smoke, the spit, any of that stuff. Knickknack.com is the website, NICNAC.com. Use my name, Todd. You'll get 15% off your order. This is for folks who are currently using nicotine and who are 21 years or older. Knick Knack. Crush your vice, my friends. When we get back from this break, I want to share some other things that other politicians are out there saying to try to keep Biden from having to debate Trump. And why wouldn't they, my friend? It's the only chance that they've got. And I want to talk a little bit about the campaign as well. But timeout's in order. Sit tight. Back in just a minute.
Listen to the Wealth Talks podcast and increase your financial wisdom. You will find episodes about investments, the infinite banking concept, how to fight inflation, the financial side of retirement, and financial questions Jesse asked his girlfriend. Listen to the Wealth Talks podcast on any podcast platform or watch it on YouTube. There are new episodes of the Wealth Talks podcast weekly. Search for Wealth Talks podcast online and subscribe for free.
My friends, do you smoke, vape, or chew tobacco? If so, Knick Knack Naturals is here to help you crush your vice. Knick Knacks are nicotine mints that completely dissolve in your mouth. No smoke, no spit, no mess. This product is only for folks currently using nicotine products who are looking for a better alternative. Visit knickknack.com and use promo code Todd to save 15%. That's NICNAC, knickknack.com, promo code Todd.
This holiday season, give the gift of flavor with Wild Oasis Bison. Treat your loved ones to the finest grass-fed, grass-finished bison cuts, showcasing the purity of the wild. Our ethical practices mean no hormones, antibiotics, or steroids, just good, clean meat. Visit wildoasisbison.com and use code TODD for an exclusive 15% off your first order. Our bison jerky is a perfect stocking stuffer for Christmas. Wild Oasis Bison, because exceptional meals start with exceptional meat.
Welcome back, my friends. So, just going through the politics of what's happening here in the campaign, or the way that this campaign is shaping up. The Democrats don't want their candidate, Joseph Biden, to debate Trump. Remember, again, I think I referenced this earlier, but a couple of weeks ago, there was some pundit, so-called Republican pundit, saying Trump didn't really want to debate Biden, which is an absolute... if that's your take, you should immediately resign or go looking for a job at MSNBC, because that's just plain silly and ridiculous to suggest such a thing. Trump says, anytime, any place, I'll debate you. You know, you can give me 5 minutes notice and I'll show up and I will wipe the floor with you, Joseph Robinette Biden. And that is, of course, living in reality. What's not living in reality is thinking that Trump doesn't want to debate Biden, or that Trump that these excuses that people are giving for Biden are justifiable in preventing Biden or keeping Biden from debating Trump. Senator Chris Coons, who's also from the great state of Delaware, again, looking at this article at redstate.com, warned against Biden giving Trump an opportunity to, quote, make hateful and racist remarks. He also talked about well, the media bias for Trump. I mean, come on. Who really believes that? There's no media bias in Trump's favor. I mean, this would be a metaphorical bloodbath. A metaphorical, my friends. But this would just be, it'd be great to behold, and we should be able to watch this, but they're going to try to hide him. The question is, can they get away with it? The question is, can they get away with it? It appears that many voters are going to have major problems if Biden does not debate Trump. So maybe they're going to be forced into doing this. I don't know. But they're certainly going to look for ways out of it. And what happens if Biden doesn't debate? I mean, is it going to impact him? Is it going to be the catalyst that gives Trump states, clearly giving him states like Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, Arizona, Georgia? I mean, is that what this is going to come down to? Michigan, if I didn't say that. Anyway, so there you go. We'll see what happens with this. Of course, there should be debates. The campaign, though, the Biden campaign, this is why, they're looking for an advantage. The Biden campaign is looking for any advantage that it can because it has nothing. It has nothing. It thinks that it has an advantage on this issue of abortion, right? So we had the Roe v. Wade decision being overturned a couple of years ago now, and then we have states and a push for a national, states that are doing abortion bans, and then talk of national abortion bans. And Trump came out recently, a couple of weeks ago, and talked favorably about a 15-week federal abortion ban. But in the days since then, Trump has stopped promoting that and said that there should not be a national abortion ban. Instead, saying that this should be reserved for the states. The states should make their own decision. The pro-life community is not happy about this. But I think this illustrates what I mean when I say that I'm an ideological conservative. These ideas matter. I've thought about these most of my adult life, debated these things, just as you have in many ways. But then there's the practical electoral politics of this. And in a way, it's like Trump saying, hey, this is as far as this political landscape lets us take this abortion issue. If you want to continue to further move the needle and get more support for a nationwide ban, I think Trump would probably consider that. But he's coming at this from a practical perspective. And his job, he would say, is to win this election. And he doesn't think he can do it if he takes that stand. A pro-life individual, an abortion abolitionist has problems with this. And I understand that. I also understand that this is strategically why Trump is not going to push this any further. He thinks that this is the only thing. If you look across the landscape of economic issues, the open border, the disaster that Biden has created for this country, the left's policies have created, there's really nothing else that the left even can get any sort of traction with. And Trump is basically saying, I'm not going to give them this issue. And I think for Trump, that's enough. For you and I, who are, believe in these ideas and that come at this from a ideological perspective, because these things do matter tremendously, we might look at them differently. In fact, I would say we do look at them differently. But I would say, too, that it's now our job to continue to persuade and make the movement more towards federal abortion bans or pro-life policies and so forth. But anyway, there's the music telling me it's time to wrap up, my friends. Have a great day. Thanks for listening. SDG.
Listen to the Wealth Talks podcast and increase your financial wisdom. You will find episodes about investments, the infinite banking concept, how to fight inflation, the financial side of retirement, and financial questions Jesse asked his girlfriend. Listen to the Wealth Talks podcast on any podcast platform or watch it on YouTube. There are new episodes of the Wealth Talks podcast weekly. Search for Wealth Talks podcast online and subscribe for free.
My friends, do you smoke, vape, or chew tobacco? If so, Knick Knack Naturals is here to help you crush your vice. Knick Knacks are nicotine mints that completely dissolve in your mouth. No smoke, no spit, no mess. This product is only for folks currently using nicotine products who are looking for a better alternative. Visit knickknack.com and use promo code Todd to save 15%. That's NICNAC, knickknack.com, promo code Todd.